Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, entitled Akshar Brahma Yoga, the yoga of imperishable Brahman. And presently, verse number 18. Avyaktadyaktayaha sarva prabhavanti haragame ratriagame praliyante tatra eva avyakta sangyate. With the coming of Brahma's day, all manifested beings and objects proceed from the unmanifest. And with the coming of Brahma's night, all these enter into a state of dissolution known as the unmanifest. Profound insight is being given. This whole topic is very profound. For human mind to comprehend the relativity of time and space. And that goal is nowhere in the terms of time and space. And very simple illustration you have. What you enjoy most in 24 hours? Your deep sleep. When you are out of time and space. But now coming to practical reality that human mind constantly is dominated by. Whenever we study the world, we study in the terms of time. Every planet or star is shown to you in the terms of what you are seeing at present. That's not what you are seeing. The light has taken years to come to your eyes. So you can't just take it things as they are according to your perception. Now, keeping that understanding, all this www, create the website. The entire world process is a mystic website. Time, space, causation. All three are delusional. Every website opens with a www. But every website doesn't give the same message. You go through different type of experiences through how you are using your time-space concept. Without going into further detail in that direction, taking it for granted that yes, this is the world. Now the question arises, who has planned it? Who created it? The answer is Brahma. How long ago? Now again the terms are used. How? so many thousand years go to form one yuga. And when 4 yugas pass, it's just third quarter of a day for Brahma. It may not be exact, but doesn't matter. So, millions of yugas go on during the lifetime of Brahma. Brahma also has to sleep. So he has 12 hours a day and 12 hours a night. But his hours are totally different. And you have the illustration in Bhagavad Puran, where a great king takes his daughter, wants his daughter Revati to have a right match. It comes to his mind that who can better tell him about who is the right match than the Creator who created the whole world. So he goes to Brahmaloka, and hardly few minutes have passed. Brahma tells him that no one of his time is present from where he is coming. So, however, Brahma directed him that Balaram is the best match. So I'm not going to that story, but just to give you a sample how scriptures deal with time. He spent only few minutes of time in Brahmaloka, and all his relatives and friends all departed by the time he comes back. He faces a totally different world. And that Brahma, from human point of view, what a wonderful thing. He lives for such a long time. When you see a person living just for 104 years, you become very surprised. But even that Brahma has a complaint. He comes to an end. How many Brahmas have come and gone? Millions and trillions. There's no count. Each Brahma took all that time. Did mighty things, creating the world. So that type of presentation is allegorical presentation. All that implies that all that you are understanding about Brahmaloka and all this creation, where does the credit go to? Your little brain in your skull and the magic of nerves. So how do you experience this world? And all that you know depends upon your brain, nervous system. But brain and nervous system again are not the finality. There is a spiritual, there is a mystic energy that is activating your brain and operating through it. And if you go on finding the cause is the absolute self, the truth, Brahman. When we say cause, it is not a form of causation. When you look at a mirage, what is the cause of mirage? Desert. That type of allegorical description. Desert didn't cause it. Mirage is your trouble. So when you say my Raj, it's Mirage. All your experiences based upon me and mine, a big mirage. But the mind of human being that has been so stretched out with all this discovery of science and geography and all that, always tries to go into time. So to satisfy that mind, the Gita says that Brahma, with the coming of Brahma's day, all manifested beings and objects proceed from the unmanifest. So prior to creation, there was nature in the state known as avyakta, unmanifest. Prior to cook certain dishes, ask her, where are the dishes? Unmanifest. They are there, but it is unmanifest. And when preparation goes on, you see the manifest. So that's the, I'm giving you in a joking manner all these philosophical terms, avyakta, avyakta. From avyakta comes this entire universe. And there is a whole series to understand. And avyakta comes subtle elements. Subtle elements go into permutation, combination. They evolve your intellect, your mind, your ego, your causal body, your subtle body, your physical body, all your 5 sheaths, and all the world of countless types of beings, all comes from avyakta, prakriti that is in the state of unmanifest. So as when Brahma emerges and manifests, comes to his role, avyakta begins to work and brings out vyakta, manifest. And every night when Brahma goes to sleep, the whole thing goes into deluge, pralaya. But that's a short pralaya. When Brahma completely departs for another Brahma to take up the role, it's called Mahapralaya, the greatest deluge. But all the term great deluge and a stretch of millions of years, what have you to do with it? What you have to do with it to understand that no matter how majestic the world may appear before you, how vast, how full of wonders and all types of things, that world is perishable world. It is never eternal. It is never exactly the same. And how changing it is, every moment it changes. It doesn't have patience, it wants to stay on. And for easy understanding, again, the world experience is a mental projection. Like a show, cinema show. And all projections create illusion in such a way that you are seeing in the drama or in the cinema show, a type of story where people are seated in their house and looking into their TV. So within the show itself, another show is going on. And if you use your clever mind, in that TV, there is another show going on. Show within the show. Dream within the dream. So that's the way the world has been explained by some scriptures. And there is no end to it. The message behind all this, that no matter whatever you experience in the terms of time, space, causation, that experience which is brought out by your conditioned mind through your extremely limited nervous system, that world is so little. And just like you cannot find security in your dream, no matter how wonderful the dream might have been, it passes away. Nothing of your dream can you hold on, not even a needle point. Similarly, nothing can you hold on to, meaning nothing can stay eternal. It's all changing. 19th verse. Bhutgramah sa evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratriagame vashah partha parvatyaha ragame. Thus, O Partha, Partha is Arjuna, the multitude of beings come forth again and again. Simple way of saying, the souls are born again and again. With the coming of Brahma's day, and are helplessly led to dissolution at the coming of Brahma's night. For simple understanding, every soul experiences birth and death. Birth, living your life is like a day. Death is like night. Every soul goes through day and night. And in this process, the soul is getting into many embodiments. When the whole day, one day, the day of the soul has passed, the soul goes through a causal state, led by karma, either heaven or hell. And from that night state, the soul emerges again in another day, in another body. The process goes on, birth and death. And even the greatest of beings that you can imagine who dwells in this universe are subject to the same transient condition. So it may be Brahma, maybe Vishnu playing his role of sustaining the universe. When the universe itself is not there, what will he do? Even Kshira Sagar is a part of the universe. And I have explained that, why we use all the great Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva as deity to be adored. We do that because it is practical for you to start from salamban, something that supports your mind, in order to go beyond alamban. So the intention behind holding on to different concepts of God are to go beyond the concepts and realize God. But the different concepts are necessary, they are steps. But they themselves are not the reality. 20th. Parastasmattu bhavo gyo vyakto vyaktasanasanah yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Far beyond the manifest, there is yet another unmanifest, the eternal self, who does not perish while all beings do. The two types of unmanifest. First state, the abhyakta state of the world. And that abhyakta state becomes to manifest state, and all this becomes possible as long as the soul is gripped by karma. Jiva, gripped by ignorance, three granthis, avidya, kama, karma. For that jiva, this universe is real. But even this real universe, the jiva faces different states. A state where the seed has not germinated, it is deep in the earth. Then it is called unmanifest. Now it begins to germinate. And now you see the seed in a manifest state. The whole world has come from an unmanifest cause. But there is another unmanifest beyond the unmanifest I have explained. And here again I am turning your attention to bhava pratyaya and pratyaya bhava. Bhava pratyaya, you are seeing in a cinema show how a king was tremendously powerful, mighty palaces. And now those palaces that were manifest, suddenly they turn to ashes in the drama. And suddenly they disappear. The whole show changes, bringing different rasas. From a joyous rasa, it brings all terror. From terror to great joy. So you are seeing manifesting and unmanifesting, two terms. But the unmanifest that you are seeing in the projection, that's not the absolute unmanifest. Absolute unmanifest is that is the screen behind the projection. All the time while you are watching the projection, that reality is out of your sight. But that reality is the reality. When your projecting mind stops projection. Avyaktoksara ityukta tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya ninivartante taddhama paramam mama. This unmanifested being is called the imperishable. which the scriptures declare as the supreme goal. The supreme goal is Brahman, who is described as Purushottama. Every soul is known as Purusha. The second verse will talk about it. And that unmanifested being, the screen-like, the entire universe is projected on the absolute reality, who is called Brahman, the absolute, and further extendedly described as Sat Chit Ananda, absolute existence, absolute awareness, absolute bliss. And in simpler context, described as a rope. And the entire world process is like a snake superimposed upon the rope. The entire cinema show is superimposed upon the screen. The entire world process is a mental projection. But projection needs a basis. The foundation behind the projection is what you are essentially. Your own understanding of yourself brought about through your projection device of the mind is a changing identity. One day you are very happy, another day you are miserable, another day you are young, another day we get old. So you are always shifting. One day you are successful, another day unsuccessful. One day you open up the Kundalini. Another day Kundalini is swallowed. Slowly. I'm joking. So this identity of yours, you have to have patience to understand this is not all your identity. But from practical point of view, this is what you have to deal with. How to understand, how can you make yourself healthier? Very ordinary level. I'm talking about health that will allow your mind to go into deeper solution to all your problems. Answer is, for that type of spiritual health, you need integral yoga. For physical health, you need your head, heart, hand, feet, all kept in a good, healthy state. From a spiritual point of view, karma, bhakti, dhyana, jnana, they must become harmonized. As you gain that type of harmony, now you are on the way to discover what is your real identity. When you are twisted in your nature, head goes another way, heart goes another way, feet go another way. Your identity is become mantra's identity, hunchbacked. Prakriti is hunchbacked. But the purpose of spiritual sadhana is to bring about that harmonization, bring a melody style of integration in your personality, to get rid of the malady of the world process. The world process itself is a tremendous malady, caused by the deadliest of all virus, Mrityu virus, virus of mortality. So that akshara is the supreme goal. That is my highest abode, reaching which one does not return to the world again. Punarbhava darshanam. That was Kunti's prayer. God, go on giving me trouble. Don't stop that. Don't give me so many good things because I forget you. But give troubles that keep me reminded of you and alert to my goal, so that I may never come to see the world ever again. And that's the highest goal, presented in a poetic way. Purushaha sa paraha partha bhaktya labhya tvananyaya yasyantashthani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam. O Partha, that Supreme Being within whom all beings abide and by whom all this is pervaded, is attainable by unswerving devotion alone. The result of integration is unswerving devotion, love of God that cannot be shaken. It is the love that lights up your heart, and it is the greatest pathway to absolute enlightenment. You do your sadhana more intensely when you love your sadhana. You go on practicing various disciplines because you love seeing yourself healthier than before, more enriched than before. Behind all your loving actions, the source of love first points you. But then you have to discover that you is not your ego. So the more you become free of the pressure of ego, greater will be your experience of what love is in reality. Otherwise, there is fleeting love called moha. And moha love is full of tricks. In a spiritual movement, you bring a change in your moha love. Instead of having moha in a blind way, you start turning your moha, sublimating it through satsanga. Instead of being deluded by rajasic, tamasic state of mind, get deluded by sattvic state. You're switching the moha in a different level. That also opens the door to loving all things and people who have inspired you. But even that should not hold you. The real love is divine, God. That God is your innermost identity. So that's the role of profound love. That's the ultimate key, as it were, the magical key to the treasure of enlightenment. And another point we have explained before, whenever we talk of unswerving devotion, your mind has to understand God is worshipped in different aspects. So if you are highly advanced in your understanding, you are worshipping Brahman, one God, No matter how many aspects you use in your daily life. You start in the mornings adoring the sun. A little later, you adore your Ishtadevata. A little later, join in satsang and start worshipping many devatas. They be joyed. And then you find a world fighting. Why are you worshipping that one? Worship mine. I have the experience. And this is proven by great sages. Why Vishnu? Worship Shiva. Why Shiva? Worship Allah. And so forth. It goes on. Ananya Bhakti, your heart must understand, no matter which way people worship. In all religions, God remains the same. And you have freedom to worship, whichever way suits you. But that does not mean that there are different gods being worshipped in different ways. And they themselves mutually have their own trouble. One god doesn't like the other one. Only good news, you don't have the news break from the heavenly world. Otherwise, tremendous news going on constant. So that's ananya, means unswerving devotion. No matter how many gods you worship, no matter how many variations, but deep down you are simply strengthening your love of God. And that God is without word, without form, that God is beyond, but that God is the God, no matter which way we worship. And you don't allow your mind to go into contradictions. If you have reached that state, and that state is reached in a spontaneous way when you begin to harmonize, integrate. And that's the purpose of integral yoga. And that God, Mahatma Gandhi called Ram, Ram. Tulsidas Ji called Ram, Ram. And Gauranga Mahaprabhu called Krishna, Krishna. And then there are people who are neither not in India, they call Allah, Allah. Or Christ, Christ. Now we are in a very advanced stage of progress, and we must understand there was a time when anybody talked like that in a satsang, he will not be allowed into satsang. How dare you say all religions are the same? How you practice, there comes the trouble. But the real intention and the real teaching is just the same. If you have that type of mentality, then you have ananya bhakti. And if you have ananya bhakti, you are bound to attain liberation. Yatra kale tvanavrittim avrittim chaiva yoginah prayatayanti tam kalam vakshyami bharatarshava. O best of Bharatas, best of aspirants, I shall now explain to you the path traveling which the yogis return to the world. And the path whereby they who are devoted to Nishkamya Karma do not return. The first set of yogis are those who are devoted to Sakamya Karma. Here let me give you, make you understand. People who are not following the path of virtue, they are not yogis. Once people have started pursuing the path that is righteous path, virtue becomes more important than holding on to the vices. That righteous path has two stages. First stage, you feel a sense of tremendous delight by doing certain virtuous karmas. And so therefore you calculate, if I did do 50 times, you will have more 50 times better fulfillment. So that type of movement is called Sakamya Karma. Good deeds, and you have a kind of a ego-based judgment behind your deeds. And you are looking forward to ego satisfaction. You don't have the higher understanding that ego is not the highest limit in you. But this is early stage, like two stages in education. This is a primary stage. But people who are simply living without that awareness of being virtuous, they are complete in kindergarten level. They may do sadhana, etc. They are not yogis. But those who have turned to path of virtue and they go on moving in that direction, they are in the first stage, Sakamya. They are yogis who will not attain enlightenment in one birth. Unless by their good karmas, they will go into a better family. And it will take few births for them to attain enlightenment. Those who are not yogis, they will continue to be reborn. They will not have enlightenment, even in 1,000 births. So that's a big difference to have the first step. Also, you have no other choice. When you go progress, there is always movement from early stage to higher stage. So there are two stages. The yogi who comes back to continue spiritual evolution. The greatest, highest yogi, the ideal yogi that never comes back. Yatra kale tvanavrittim avrittim chaiva yoginah prayata yanti tam kalam bhakshyami bharatarshava. O best of bharatas, this point I have explained. And now the most important point, the two types of path are being described. Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. Uttarayana is the highest yogi, the real yogi, grown-up yogi. Dakshinayana, a yogi that needs to grow, but is on the ladder of growth, but not coming to the highest yet. And here the allegorical description of Uttarayana. Agnir Jyotiha Shukla Sanamasha Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vido Jana. The yogis who depart at a time that is characterized by fire, Agni, Jyoti, light, Aha, daytime, Shukla, bright half of the lunar month, and 6 months of the northern course of the sun. Highly allegorical description. Pursuing the northern path, they who know Brahman go to Brahman. This point we have discussed many times, but let me explain that. Agni Vairagya. First you have to understand the world you are living in is not, if it is satisfying you to live on forever, you are completely a kid. Grow out of it. Because you are repeating the same thing. Again and again, called Vamtasi. You are eating the vomited stuff. Animals do. Eat up too much, vomit it, hide it. Next day they will open up. Seems too rough. But you look at how things happen. How same mistakes are committed again and again. Same things you desire again and again. Same ego you pat again and again. And when it gets swallowed up and it gives you a big blow, you regret, recover, do it again. How to get out of this? And there again comes the integral movement. Sadhana must be understood under correct guidance, and your abhyasa and vairagya must go on endlessly, led by bhakti, led by a divine relish. If you are enjoying real relish of devotion to God, then you will not be satisfied with the delusional state of judgment. Your conscience starts speaking out in a clearer voice. Again, it's allegorical, but you have your own judgment, but very healthy. What is right for you? And you are led by it. In that voice of conscience, God's hand is behind it, God's tongue is behind it. So, let me enumerate that. So, Agni means vairagya, dispassion. Jyoti is light. Light is vivek, discriminative understanding. You may have the best thing you are looking for, maybe right on your neck. But in darkness, you are still looking for what happened. You need light and directed to your own neck. So that's a vairagya, vivek. Vairagya, viveka, aha, once these steps have been being pursued by you, now you are not living every day to keep your vomited stuff. You are looking for something fresh each day for your refrigerator. Not the old stuff. Each time you open the refrigerator, so. You live your life, not complaining, what boredom. That challenge came, it went. Next challenge coming, I'm going to fight it. I'm saying quickly, but to understand this is what the subtle movement that allows saintly personalities to have immense strength and aspirants to have immense strength, those who follow the path. Adversities come to everyone. No one is exempt. And I have to stop it at this stage. The other path is waiting. And this path is still, after Shukla. Now your heart is focused. You get real joy in your heart. Heart-based happiness is like the moon in the sky. And the moon waxes. How people look up to the moon. And full moon, you are expecting every day it waxing more and more. And if that is happening, bhavana shuddhi, purity of your feeling goes on happening. Now your consciousness that was conditioned by only mind, intellect, ego, etc. Consciousness begins to expand. You go beyond. First point to understand, your mind travels far beyond your body. Your feeling travels far beyond your mind. Your knowledge, understanding goes far beyond. So use allegorical language. So there, your consciousness, what you feel you are, and you are so limited. But now as you are following this Agni, Jyoti, Shukla, Uttarayana, every step you are take has given you a bigger dimension to your personality. As the northern course of the sun, each day has more daytime period. The period of the day goes on increasing. But this is not a study of geography or science. It's just allegorical. Your consciousness becomes bigger and bigger in range until highest climax, you become the absolute sun, Brahman. Expansion reaches limitless expansion. Limitless expansion is Brahman, the absolute. Until then, until you become Brahman, you are struggling in a world of Maya. Complete liberation is revelation of the identity, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. And all the world that you have gone through, the conditioned mind, nada. Nada exists. Nothing exists. Nothing belongs to me. I am neither mind nor body, immortal self am I. And with this we conclude. Oh. Ram Ram. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Ras of divine grace over all. May all souls be inspired to follow the path of integral yoga and be blessed with Shakti, strength. If you have strength, you face challenges in a joyous way. It's a kind of excursion. It's a fortunate privilege. Shakti, that's what, and bhakti, devotion. Shakti, bhakti, mukti. These are the greatest blessings. May all of you have a shower of these blessings. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukma Bandhanan Mrityor Mukhyamamritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.